Auks include auklets, dovekies, guillemots, moors, and puffins. They always appear in North Pacific Ocean, North Atlantic Ocean, and Arctic Ocean. Auks have thick bodies and short legs. Typically, their lengths are from 5 to 30 inches. As an example of moderate convergent evolution, auks are like penguins, but not related. Both of them are wind-propelled pursuit divers. Unlike penguins, auks can fly. Their wings are really good at diving. Conversely, their flying ability decreases to minimum.
Some of the auks are black and white, but some auks have gray and brown feathers. As an expectation, during breeding seasons, puffins become brightly colored. Auks feed on fish and other marine animals. When they find their food, they will propel themselves rapidly through the water with their strong wings and webbed feet and catch the fish. Auks only go shore for breeding. In the rest of their life, they choose to live on the open sea. They tend to nest in colonies of thousands of birds on a rocky island and return to the same nest site every year. Most make their nests among rocks, in burrows in the ground, or on ledges of cliffs. The female lays 1 or 2 eggs, which hatch in 4 to 6 weeks. Because of human activities, for example hunting, the great auk is an extinct member now. According to Auks history, hunters killed the last great auk in 1844. The great auk could not fly, and that's one of the reasons it's the first bird to call penguin.
All of the gray auks are died due to overhunting, and the dovekies are threatened and listed in IUCN Red List. They've been killed in several auk spill incidents. What's more is that dovekies are human food resource now.
The invasive species are considered to be one of the largest terrestrial threats to breeding colonies of seabirds. And the most influential group of invasive species, it's rats. Earlier explorers accidentally caused the extermination of many populations of island animals when rats from their ships came ashore and successfully colonized the island. And ships continue to transport rats all around the world. Recent studies have suggested that invasive rodents, such as the 3 prevalent rattus species, prey upon about 25% of all seabird species, typically on the eggs and young in nesting colonies. And 2 of the most affected seabirds are the auks and storm petrels. What's more is the only long-term solution to this endangerment is total eradication, typically involving a broad application of biodegradable rat poison. Another source of endangerment to seabird populations is from incidental catch or bycatch by fishing gears. And the most harmful to seabirds is longline fishing. Longlines are typically used to target large migratory predators, but can incidentally entangle seabirds. It is considered a serious global threat to some seabird populations, especially albatrosses and large petrels. And seabirds flying at surface also can be caught as baited hooks are brought back on board the vessel. Due to this endangerment, numerous methods have been developed. These include avoiding times and areas when seabirds forage, dyeing the bait blue to make it more difficult to see against the water, or shielding boat lights to make the bait less visible, thawing the bait to make it less buoyant, or adding additional weight to sink the line quicker. Another method is using bird scaring devices, which includes noise-making devices and streamer lines.
For restricting seabird bycatch, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations developed an international plan of action for reducing the incidental catch of seabirds in the longline fisheries in 1999, which requires nations who sign on to assess longline fisheries and develop a national plan of action to limit seabird bycatch. The U.S. Endangered Species Act provides specific protections to seabirds classified as endangered or threatened. The Migratory Bird Treaty Act implements treaties between the U.S., Great Britain, Japan, and the former USSR to provide protection to any migratory bird, which would include all seabirds found in open ocean. But establishing protected areas in international waters of open ocean may not be currently feasible because of the difficulty in defining protected areas and enforcing protections. International agreements would have to be reached requiring a consensus among fishing nations, something that has been difficult to achieve. Another thing is implementing measures globally to totally eliminate bycatch of seabirds and fisheries. It's unlikely because of the economic, political, and legal issues. The most efficient way to monitor success and enforce regulations is pacing observers on vessels and encouraging voluntary compliance with the regulations by providing economic incentives.
And the most influential.
Tell me, have you seen the marvelous redfish swimming in the ocean waters? Have you seen the marvelous redfish? He's like an